Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Good day, good day, good day, good day. It is Powerhouse Mavericks today. And how are you? Are you doing well? It's Thursday, so I'm doing awesome. The week started off weird with my whole eye thing. I'm not sure if you saw my little pirate imitation that I had to have most of the weekend into Tuesday. And my eyes are still very sensitive to light. So if I appear as if I'm really forcing my eyes open right now, as I have three lights in front of me, then you'll understand why. But I'm thrilled that you're here. And I took a little different slant on this, and I hope I have your permission to do so because you were involved in the actual content of it. But I had posted a question out in the group yesterday morning, in inviting you to provide one tip to help someone that might be needing to push through adversity. And boy, did you give us great, great tips. And I thought to myself, all right, so what is it that we need to talk about, this week on this particular program? And I thought, well, gosh, they provided me so much great content that I'm just going to kind of honor them, honor all of you that did, and share that as a way of kind of complementing any tips or advice that I might be able to give. Because the group, I wanted to be all about all of us, not just about me, but all, because all of you as coaches, consultants, and service providers are experts in your own right. And therefore, I want you to feel really free to provide that advice, provide those tips. And when appropriate, when we offer up opportunities to promote your business, your social profiles, your products and services, that you do so, because it's just, free advertising. It's free opportunity to really connect with other people within the community, especially if they too are your ideal client. All right. So I thought, okay, so this is a great subject to have, tips for pushing through adversity, especially as we go into the holiday. So adversity can come at any of us at any point in time. We could be having an awesome day, and then all of a sudden we have something that just totally sabotages everything that's going on. It can come in the form of business. It can come in the form of your personal life. And right now, being that this time of year, it can come in the form of just absolute stress and struggle when it comes to the holiday season. And I thought, we could touch on each of those three buckets, so to speak, but at the same time, sharing your tips and advice that you shared with the community. I also offered up, and I provided a link in this live post, where if you're out there and you're watching this and you want to jump on and come into the studio and participate with me and share your tips, not only just the one that you posted, but any others. Again, this is an opportunity for you to get in front of people that you might not normally get in front of. So the link to do that is right inside this post, as I mentioned. And as soon as I would see you come in, I'll bring you into the studio and we can have a chat. How about that? All right. So we do this for those of you who are new to the community. And over the last, I would say 30 days, we picked up quite a few new Powerhouse Mavericks. And I'm always thrilled about that. And I hope you're finding value from all the opportunities that we have to engage and collaborate and really connect with one another. At the same time, learning and getting coaching and tips and advice. But I hope you have, the willingness to want to share and invite other female coaches, consultants, and service providers. And of course, we have some men out here, but share the group and invite them in as well, because we do offer a great, number of opportunities to really showcase your business. And one of those I should mention is I offer up 15-minute snap interviews for the Biz Snap Show. Yesterday, you would have seen Darlene DePlata's snap interview. It was posted at around noon yesterday. And I try to get them out every Wednesday at noon Eastern time. If I have them, because as much as I offer them, not necessarily people are taking advantage of them. And the way I would look at this, this is your coach speaking to you. The way I would look at this is, wow, this is a great opportunity to have someone, who is experienced in interviewing, interview me. And then I have a piece of content that I can share with my prospects, my clients, my vendors, my just overall network on any one of your social platforms. And they can hear about who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? How do you do it? What is the impact that you're bringing to your clients? And then how to reach out and connect with you. So there's no better free marketing and free advertising and branding than something like that. And you'll find other places will actually charge you for that type of interview. And I just offer it as a benefit and a plus to our Powerhouse Mavericks. So feel free to always DM me. And either Alex or I will kind of pay attention to that, and we will send you the link for you to be able to schedule yours. All right. Because as long as you're a Powerhouse Maverick, although I do invite people outside the group, but as a Powerhouse Maverick, you have that opportunity to do that. All right. And I would take full advantage of it. But I also take full advantage that if you are out there and you come across me still being here live and you see the link to join me, then feel free to also join me. But you can also leave comments. And there is instruction from StreamYard as far as if you want me to see your name and your profile image, then you're going to need to give them permission to share that with me. I'll see your comments. It just won't tell me who it is. But, leave your comments, provide your tips, ask your questions about pushing through adversity. And let's just all help each other so we become better people and we have better businesses and we have a fabulous end of year going into the new year. All right. Okay. So in no particular order, again, we get into adversity. Adversity hits us in so many different ways. So from a business perspective, it could be the fact that all of a sudden you have been awarded, as I like to call it, a client. They have made a commitment to work with you. They may have even paid you. And yet at the same time, all of a sudden, before you get started, the rug's pulled out from under you and something came up with them. We're not here to judge that, but something came up with them and they kind of pull out of engaging with you. So that's kind of just a adversity of kind of ego and pride and excitement. At the same time, it's the loss of a client and it's the loss of income, which depending upon what your adversity is, it could also be that you're not getting the income and the traction that you want, which could be another adversity. I'm doing all this work. I'm putting out all this great content. I'm serving my current clients so beautifully. And yet I'm not getting new clients and therefore new income. And therefore the adversity just becomes desperation. It becomes lack. It becomes a head game. It just becomes a war against yourself, quite honestly, that can sabotage you as well. And then I won't share it today, but I'll share a little bit about it, not to leave you hanging. But one of my biggest adversities being a entrepreneur is I invested in content and intellectual property back when I started in 2008. And I invested about $150,000, of which within 6-9 months, that investment was pretty much kind of put in the trash can because I realized that the content wasn't valued appropriately. I could create content that was much more strategic and much more directed to what it is that I wanted to do. And therefore that investment really pretty much went up in smoke. And talk about adversity, talk about not only with the money and with the banks and with my ability to kind of continue working and investing, but also my ego and my pride and my, belief in myself that I could actually be doing what I was doing. So those are various business types of adversities. Personal, it could be, dealing with divorce. It could be dealing with tragedy, dealing with illness. It could be just, again, just really feeling insecure and unworthy and not really believing in yourself. So I shared a conversation with my sister a good number of years ago, and she made and I was kind of in a adverse place, and she kind of made a response to me like, you don't need to have your house burned down for it to be adversity, for it to be a struggle, for it to be worthy of, yes, um, acknowledgement that I'm struggling, and at the same time seeking help, seeking advice, seeking guidance, seeking support in any way, shape, or form. Adversity, when we hear that word, when we hear tragedy, when we hear trauma, we always think of big things, but adversity comes in very small but powerful packages, that we just have to get our arms around. An example would be, I read a post, and I won't share any details regarding it, but it was basically a post around a relationship, that was on, blood. And, one was struggling with the fact that this other party just did not deserve, and it was not worthy of her, forgiveness, her engagement, let alone her love. And yet she was struggling with that, really deeply struggling with that. Well, that's adversity. And of course, the third bucket that I had mentioned was the holiday season. And the reason why I separated that out is, as much as this is supposed to be a joyful period, a very just fun, walk through the halls or walk through the stores or walk down the park, singing all the holiday songs, meeting with friends and family, maybe having one too many, but it's supposed to be a joyous, time, not a stress, anxiety, let alone adversity when it comes to maybe potentially, damaged relationships that then need to be not necessarily confronted, like, addressing the issue, but you're going to be in the same room. And, it's amazing to me the amount of anxiety and stress and just angst that creates for so many people. And it's heartbreaking to see that, because again, it's supposed to be a joyous time. Life, is supposed to be a joyous time, but these particular, call it a milestone, but it really isn't. But these particular periods, these particular chapters of the year, they just conjure up even more and more opportunity to want to celebrate and come together. And yet, some people, it can create a lot of adversity, within themselves, and then within whatever situation it is that they're dealing with. So again, I think it's a great opportunity, and you've provided great tips, that I want to share, and even kind of maybe add, my own, to it. But I'll be quoting you. So again, I hope, that's all right. You put it down on, so-called paper within the group. And again, we're right here in the group. So I hope, that is okay. And if it's not, please let me know. And I'll make sure I can edit it out when I share it, share it out, across other places. But Elta Rahim, she said, okay, the one tip I would have around, pushing through adversity would be prayer, meditation, positive thinking. And I loved that. And I followed up with a question about, okay, so what's that one tip that you could share of how you do that? Of course, in my world, in Ball of Fire Coaching's world, it's our shift to riches formula. You spend time, and that comes to the positive thinking. You spend time really discovering kind of what's going on, who you are, who you want to be, confronting anything that you need to acknowledge, you need to applaud, or you need to consider not worthy of you. And then you shed it, shed those things that you don't want. And again, they could be people, places, or things, but they could also be limiting beliefs and, and the doubts and the fears that you have, what I call bitches in my world. So you do all that while maintaining and honoring your riches, those people, places, things, those qualities, traits, values, beliefs, expertise, experiences that make up who you are. You honor those at the same time, And both of those, letting go of some things, shedding, or honoring some other things, help you then move forward to create and accelerate the riches in life that you want. So that is one way, positive thinking in regards to really discovering who am I and who do I want to be and what do I truly want and why do I want it, will then just create a lot of energy and a lot of positivity within you. So when times do get tough and struggles do abound, you can lean back on all of those things to kind of shift your mindset into that positive thinking that Elta is recommending. And then, of course, prayer. I'm very faith-based. I have a ritual every morning in regards to, even after I do my ritual in bed. Every morning, I sit down and I read a daily devotional out of Sarah Young's Jesus Calling, if you're familiar with that. I then move on to doing some manifestation meditation. And then I move on to doing some online life visioning practice with Michael Beckwith. So that's kind of my routine in the morning. But prayer and meditation. And I kind of look at meditation, there's various forms, there's various degrees. I never really envisioned myself that type to sit on the floor, my hands out humming. But trust me when I say I could be sitting in this chair and needing to switch into meditation and just going to another sphere. So whatever form meditation takes for you, whatever form prayer takes for you, I think Elta brings up a beautiful, beautiful tip for pushing through adversity. And it's that faith, not necessarily divine, or spiritual, if you're not, but even just that faith and belief in you and your beauty and your worth and your value will keep you positive, as she mentioned, and then help you push through any adversity that comes up. One thing I'll add to that too for myself is acknowledging that there will be adversity, acknowledging that it's just a part of life, as opposed to just always, kind of fearing it or fighting it or avoiding it or ignoring it. That's another great way for you to push through it. I mean, because every one of us will have adversity. I did not expect when I woke up Monday morning. So my eye irritation started late Sunday afternoon. And then through the night, I could just feel that I couldn't open my eye. And when I did, I couldn't even look at a little blue light on the wall from a charger I had plugged in. And so I never expected that I'd wake up Monday morning with a packed day of work. Never expected to wake up and literally my head was pounding. My eye was sensitive to the touch. Muscle wise, I could not look in light for anything. And it really did kind of put a fork in everything that I had planned for that day. And so I just kind of had to go into my state of, it wasn't necessarily prayer that I typically would do anyway. But I definitely did have to go into a lot of self-talk. I had to go into reconciling, hey, it's okay. It's okay if you have to cancel some meetings and cancel, especially some online work. I had to cancel 2, if not 3 online interviews that I was being interviewed in those times. And just the idea, I wouldn't have been able to because I couldn't look into light. It was so painful. So I cancel. Adversity is going to happen. And you know what? So is getting onto the other side of adversity. So, you just need to kind of take a breath, stay calm, and recognize that unless we're curing cancer, unless we're saving lives, physically, if not to a degree of emotionally, mentally, that we can slow ourselves down, maybe even, take down what it is that we had planned to be working on or plan to be doing, and just give yourself a break and then come back to it. So I just love Elta's comments and suggestions. Now, Paula Kramer, she's a regular commenter and tip provider in the group, and I love it. She comments, knowing that the future comes anyway, which is what I was actually just talking on. And what do you want your future to be? I love that. So I came back and said, so one should ask themselves that question, like, what do you want your future to be? And she said, yes. What do I want for my future? So pushing through adversity is also kind of looking at, yes, this adversity is here right now, but then what do I want my future to be? Future is not, a week from now, 6 months from now, 3 years from now. Future could be in 5 minutes. What do I want my future to be? Do I want to be still sitting here in this struggle and this pain and this adversity, or do I want to kind of shift and work my way through it, push my way through it? And I absolutely love that. So that was from Paula. Shelly Steele. Shelly says, one day at a time, stay physically and mentally fit. Love that. Love that. There's nothing more damaging or more, hard on our hearts than being tired, being dehydrated, being weighed down, literally, physically, maybe, with ill health or overweight or, whatever. It could even be, on the other degree of anorexia, but something that's draining your vitality. And then you're trying to, at the same time, deal with an adverse situation, big or small. When adversity comes around, you want to always be in your peak. You want a peak performance because you want to be able to look at things clearly and logically and unemotionally and strategically and creatively to come up with those solutions that you want to kind of solve to address that adversity. So I love that because, yes, one day at a time. I would even kind of like compress it to even like 1 moment at a time. Be as present as you can be. One big question I was asked on an interview the other day. Again, I was being interviewed. It had been a while that I was doing interviews, and now I'm getting inundated with them. But there was this one interview I was doing just the other day, and he asked, "So, what do you do to remain present, like present right now in this very moment?" And so we got into a lengthy conversation, which I'll save you. But one of my practices or one of my processes is the term that he came up with is, say there's something that, just got effed up during the day. And, and the solution was dependent on people that were going to be available from 9 to 5 or whatever the time block is. But now you're laying in bed at, 10, 11, midnight, 2, if you're like tossing back and forth. And what I have learned to do, even if it's daytime in the middle of everything going on, I would ask myself, what am I able to do about this right now? What am I able to do about this right now? Because if I can do something about this adversity, then I should take that action to kind of move me one step further to solving it. But if I can't, like at midnight when there's nobody available to talk to, whether that's a client or a vendor or a bank or a retailer or whomever. So, but if I can't do anything to solve that issue right then and there, then I'm just wasting my life and being present right now and getting a good night's sleep, worrying about it because there's nothing I can do about it. And so I think that, what Shelly's saying about one day at a time, I think that really resonated with me in that respect. And I hope it does for you, that if you're dealing with something, make note of the actions that you can take to solve it. And if you can solve it because the resources or the people or the places or whatever are available, then do something. Don't avoid it. Don't push it aside because it's still going to be there, right? But if you can't, if you literally can't, because the people, places, things, and resources aren't accessible to you at that moment in time, then you need to just kind of learn to let it go and learn to shut it out and be present right then and there and get a good night's sleep. Because again, as Shelley said, you want to be mentally and physically fit when you are able to address it. So I absolutely love that. But I did come back to her and I said, so how do you do that? How do you stay physically and mentally fit? And I loved it. You know, she takes daily walks and stretching and 10-pound barbells for upper body, prayer and assessing priorities each morning and using discernment about what and who I listen to and give attention to. Love that. Love that. Oftentimes, too often, we are so consumed with not just what we feel and we think and we believe, and what we do, but what everybody else is doing around us. You know, it could be FOMO, fear of missing out. It could be fear of disappointing. It could be, any number of fears of everything that's external from our own being. And we don't focus on just what's important to me. And discerning, like she says, discerning about what and who I listen to. So, another thing to consider is if someone's not on the same page as you are, someone doesn't agree, someone doesn't support, someone doesn't think you can do whatever it is that you want to be doing or are doing, then you're doing a huge disservice to yourself if you fall into responding to that or reacting to that, because it's your dream, your goal, your why, your purpose, your legacy. And therefore you have to be able to discern, as Shelley says, as to whether or not you listen to that person or you just accept it, you receive it and you say, thank you very much. And you go and do what you need to do. Another interview I had the other day, we got into talking about the fact that I wrote my memoir. I kind of purged my whole being into a book that also included stories about my family and my coworkers and my friends at the time. Majority of it was good and really wasn't anything about them. The majority of it was the negativity about me, about what I felt about myself. And so she asked me, she said, well, did you regret or, what happened? What did you do when, all of a sudden people were reading this book and maybe their name was in it, maybe it wasn't, maybe, they could read into what, certain stories that were about them or about somebody that they knew. And I said, I couldn't be concerned about that. I certainly considered I didn't want to hurt anybody. So I did what I needed to do in that regard, but I couldn't, hide from my truth. I couldn't lie because that would just be putting me back into a negative, untruthful place. But at the same time, I just can't listen and can't accept everything that everybody's saying. You cannot either. Because not everyone is going to agree with you. Not everyone is going to like you. Not everybody is going to want to do business with you. And you have to be okay with that. And so when the adversity, especially adversity, like we talked about, adversity comes up when it comes to the business. I'm not getting traction. I'm not getting clients. I'm not getting income. I'm not getting engagement. I'm not getting anybody to sign up for my workshops. That's nothing other than you dragging yourself down. And creating that adversity for yourself. Because there are going to be times when people don't engage, people don't connect, people don't attend, people don't pay, people don't whatever. But you have to decide, is that okay? Is it because I'm being truthful to myself? I'm being true to my passion. I'm doing what I want to be doing and loving and what I'm good at. And, and then just be okay to keep moving forward. And maybe there are things you have to tweak and change, maybe things you have to throw away, things you have to bring in, but all of those things are solvable. So the adversity is really being created by you, not from the things out around you. You're just allowing it to. So discern, as Shelley says, who and what you want to listen to. Kindness and compassion, she also mentions. So I want to make sure I throw that out. Innate Bannon, she says, surrender, let go of the outcome, and everything will fall into place. Love, love, love this. Love, 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 love this. And the reason being is it's true. There was a time, and maybe you can relate to this. There was a time that I just held on so tight. I was so desperate. I was in such a place of lack when it came to my business, when it came to getting clients, when it came to getting that money in the door, actually the money in the bank, even to the point where I could have a signed contract in my hand, and I could have an invoice that was sent to the client. And yet I was just beating myself up and living in such a place of desperation and lack that until that money was in the bank, did I feel secure and confident that, that I deserved it, I earned it, I'm being valued and worthy for what it is that I was doing. And it's such a draining, exhausting, exasperating place to be in your heart, even in your head. And so it wasn't until I kind of had a reconciliation with myself and actually my coach at the time, and I'm going back probably 6 or 7 years, excuse me. Sorry, I was looking for water. And she had me kind of sit down, what I talk about today. She had me sit down. She had me kind of reconcile all my, beliefs at the time, my limiting beliefs, especially. And then just looking at them going, is it true that you're undeserving? No. Is it true that you're incapable? No. Is it true that you don't have the expertise? No. Is it true that you don't, deserve or are worthy of this rate that you're putting out there? No. Is it true? So I basically, very much like, a number of very popular programs talk about, she had me go through this realization, self-awareness, self-assessment to really kind of show myself that, you don't need to hold on so tight to where actually you're scaring people away. People can smell desperation, can smell lack, can smell insecurity, can smell, one not feeling worthy or good enough. And, so you want to be careful that you don't go to that place. One, because you don't deserve to. You just need to reconcile or self-assess and make new decisions about your beliefs. But at the same time, you don't want to, because it will cause more people to be repelled by you than to be attracted to you. Okay. So I absolutely love that from her. Absolutely love that from her. Okay. Melanie Brown. Melanie, I'm thinking about you. But she says, lean on God, asking for his guidance and wisdom. He will give you the strength to persevere and overcome. And again, I wouldn't be here without my faith and my family. Without God first, family second. Every breath within me is well aware of, him there guiding me, pushing me, challenging me, blessing me, forgiving me, and loving me. So I definitely love what she said. Lean on God, ask for his guidance and wisdom. And whatever you may or may not believe, just lean on your worthiness, lean on your belief, lean on the fact that you were put on this earth, and therefore there's a reason and a purpose for it. And it's not to be discounted or diminished or devalued. But you have to dig deep for it if you're, down there. And so I would just pray that you're not, and that there's just, there's a solution to everything and every adversity. So you just find your way through. And Melanie's suggestion is through asking for his guidance and wisdom. A leaf. Nothing is forever. I love that. I love that. I actually responded, bam, because it isn't. It isn't. It feels like it is. It feels like it's never going to go away. And if you are, deep in a adverse situation, if you're deep into a really bad relationship or really abusive one, or a really bad partnership from a business perspective, maybe you're one of our Ask Me Anything questions on the show Tuesday, if you missed Tuesday, was about I'm miserable in my job. What do I do? Actually, I take that back. Miserable in her entrepreneurial experience and contemplating going back to a job. What does she do? So, again, recognizing nothing is forever. And so if you can really kind of think through that as you're dealing with any adversity, big or small, and use that more, not as kind of like a woo woo wish, like, okay, nothing's forever. Okay, then I'm just going to wait it out. But more so as a means of saying, okay, you know what? You're right. Nothing is forever. And therefore, I want to even speed up the process. And as Shelley recommended, so if you're mentally and physically fit, which is the best place to be when you have to deal with adversity, because you're going to be clear and calm and unemotional and very logical and creative, then you'll work through what needs to get done to push through that adversity, recognizing that it won't be there forever. And I'm sure every one of you have dealt with, adversities of every degree, small or big, short or long, slow or fast. And I certainly have. I certainly have. So, sadly, too many times it's only until we're on the other side that we go, oh, that wasn't that bad. But if we can lean on that past adversity and the result and the way you felt after you solved it for the next time adversity comes up. That's what I tend to do. I tend to say to myself, okay, Bernadette, before you go freaking out, recall the last, or not even the last, but one from the past, especially the big ones. And really just lean on that to recognize kind of what did you do? How did it go? What was the time frame, and how did you feel afterwards? That it was solved, that it was over, that it was gone, that it was in the past. And so I would lean on that, kind of breath, that, heaviness being, taken off my shoulders, and really actually being very grateful and thankful and blessed and exhilarated from solving that problem. And I lean on that as something else new might come up, because it will. It absolutely will. All right. Anisha says, when you make it through, your story will bless someone else someday. I love that. When you make it through, your story will bless someone else someday. So yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that, which I told her. But I love that because, we, appropriately, when we're in the middle of the muckety muck, we're very in our head. We're very self-centered. We're very, it's about me. I'm dealing with this shit. I'm dealing with this situation. And that's appropriate. At the same time, if we could kind of back away and look at it, maybe through the prayer and meditation and looking to God or whomever, and really, kind of being very considerate and intentional, looking at our own adversity, we can sit there and say, before we even get on the other side, we can look at it and say, wow, this could teach someone else. Parents, I'm sure you do that all the time. Like, you're the main example of your children, right? I mean, they're looking at you, they're watching you. They may not be in the same room as you, but that they're paying attention, and they're looking to you for example. And therefore, whether it's children or colleagues or employees or friends or family members, whatever you're going through could help someone on the other side. It's why I wrote my book. Someone asked me that the other day too. is what caused you, what kind of provoked you to write the book? I said, well, two things. One is I needed to apologize. I didn't know any other way. Another thing is I was hoping to teach or help teach, I guess, teach someone else what not to do that I did that got me in a place of misery. So I was just hoping that if I got one aha from somebody, that would be great. That would be good. And so, I love that when you make it through your story, you will bless someone else someday. Love that. Thank you, Anisha. Tammy, keep praying and keep your focus toward your goals. I have everything taken away from me this past year, and I mean everything. I found gifts in the things of nature and subtle signs daily to keep going. Okay, I'm going to break that down because I love it. So keep praying. So, Tammy, just like Melanie, just like a number of you, prayer is important. Keep your focus forward on your goals. If you've been a part of Powerhouse Mavericks or part of Ball of Fire coaching with me for any amount of time, you know how much I have you leaning on your goals. And if you don't have goals, that's when I even amp up conversation about why you should. Because again, your goals is that roadmap, and it's not only a roadmap toward accomplishing your goals, but it's a roadmap to overcoming struggles and challenges and adversity. So I love, love, love that, Tammy. Thank you so much. And that's Tammy Bareka, by the way. I wanted to mention her last name. But then she goes on to say, I found gifts in the things of nature, and subtle signs daily to keep going. So think about that. You go to bed and you're just drained and unhappy and maybe just in a state of fear and anxiety. And yet you wake up the next morning. You're given the gift of another day when so many don't and aren't. Now, I'm not looking for you to feel guilty, that you're alive and others aren't. But just look at it as those subtle signs, as Tammy says, that there's another day for you to work through whatever it is you're dealing with. You have that opportunity. You have that gift. Love that. I absolutely love that. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, Harrison. Harrison gets right down to the point. Harrison Klein. He gets right down to the point. Keep your head down, shut up, and focus on winning, not just getting through it. I'm hoping the shut up means, kind of get still and listen. Now, I'm all for very, in your face type of language. I mean, shedding the bitch, right? So I'm, if it wakes you up, I'm all for it. But I think that's what he's saying. Keep your head down, just keep moving. I'll read into that. Keep your head down. Do what it is that you need to do. Shut up and listen. Tune out everything else that's going on around you, as someone else had mentioned. And focus on winning, not just getting through it. If anything, this past, 20 months taught anybody is everybody was talking about, oh, we just want to survive. We just want to get through this pandemic, this time period. This also happened in 2008 with the recession. Oh, if I could just survive. I was like, hell no, not for myself and for my clients. Back in 2008, especially, but also this past 20 months, I was like, hell no, you're not just going to survive. I'm going to get you, and you're going to want to thrive, and you're going to thrive. Because why would you just want to survive? Because again, gosh, you would be looking back at the last 20 months and going, well, thank God it's over. But what did I really do? Like, how did I really live? What did I experience? What did I feel? And those 20 months are gone. You can't get them back. So I love that. Just focus on winning, not just getting through it. Focus on thriving, not just surviving. And that's such an overused phrase, but it's so true. Why just, slog your way through? Break that wall down and run like hell toward what it is that you want. Okay? Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. Michelle Jacobs, trust yourself to stand in your power and keep going. Trust yourself. Actually, that's a great final recommendation from all of you, because the very first one was the same thing, was touched on the same thing. Believe in yourself, have faith, believe in yourself. So trust yourself. Trust yourself to stand in your power. So I look at that as, trust yourself that you are where you're meant to be, even with that adversity, even with that challenge. Again, none of us get through life without having both successes and failures, challenges and triumphs, pains and joys. None of us. None of us. It is a part of life. So again, even that example I gave just a second ago about you would look back at the last 20 months and you need to look at both. You need to kind of consider that both of them got you where you are today and made you who you are today. Often people ask me about regret. Like, what regrets do I have? Especially when I was really heavily promoting my book a good number of years ago, and I was sharing my story. And I'll be, brutally honest and open in regards to my story. I have nothing to hide. You ask a question, I'll tell you the answer. And they'll be like, well, what do you regret? And I'm like, I don't regret anything. And they're like, oh, come on. I'm like, I really don't. I don't sit around and go, oh gosh, I wish I had. I don't regret it. Every single thing, whether it was running my car into a ditch because I went out drinking way too much and I should never have been behind the wheel and I drove myself into a ditch, or the fact that I lost that $150,000 within 6 months, or that I had I had gotten to myself to a point of near bankruptcy, almost losing my home. And landing up eating peas, as I call it. I actually eat string beans, not peas, but peas come off my tongue much easier. I don't regret any of it. It's made me who I am today. Your adversities are what it makes you who you are right now in this moment. And if you don't like who you are right now in this moment, then it gives you an opportunity to understand that, acknowledge it, decide, okay, who do I want to be, and then work on that. But if you do like who you are right now, just be okay with the fact that, yes, adversity is going to come again, and I'm in a good state of being to deal with it and to handle it. So I love that. Trust in yourself to stand in your power and keep going. Now, I'll be the first to acknowledge that there was a time, it must have been 2019. At first I thought it was 2020, but I think it was 2019. And I kind of came into the new year, which is typically with a bang. I mean, I love New Year's. I love holiday season. I love New Year's. I love the ability just to start over or start again or start anew, however you want to look at it. And yet I just was in a real funk. There was nothing that was getting me out of bed in the morning for 3 months, January through March. There was just nothing that was getting me excited. There was nothing that was, my why had waned terribly to the point of non-existence. Now, I had clients and I had work and I had income and all that kind of good stuff, but none of it was exciting me at the time. And so I chose to, at the time, to not keep going. Yes, I kept going because, you do live and breathe. And, I had to support, my clients and my work. And I would never falter on that. But overall, I really didn't keep going. I did stop, lay in bed, lay on the couch, not even really going through a reconciliation of what I was dealing with and what I was thinking and believing and what I needed to do. And of course, eventually, because tomorrow always comes, the future will always be there. Knock on wood, actually, I should say. I just had to trust myself that I was going to work through it. I had to trust myself that maybe I was, being asked to kind of slow down and stop and rest, and give myself the opportunity to rejuvenate and start recreating again. And then, I found myself pretty much like in the middle of March, toward the end of March, right back, even in a better place than I was when the new year started. So, that was a beautiful thing, a hard thing, but a beautiful thing. So what I would say is, contrary to what kind of I was doing, I guess I kept going because I kept listening to myself and listening even to rest and to slow down and back away and stop trying to, be everywhere. So we need to keep going. You want to push through your adversity, just keep going. One thing and just keep going. One thing, keep going. One thing, keep going. And keep that faith, keep that trust, keep that belief in yourself, knowing that you're put on this earth to be blessed with what it is that you want. And if you kind of keep that confidence and keep that clarity and focus, and have a plan to go along with it, then you will overcome any adversity that you might get hit with. All right. I appreciate all those great tips that you offered. And please come back on a regular basis to see how you can share within the Powerhouse Mavericks community. And, really leverage all of these tips from your fellow members as you move forward into the holiday season, so you have a beautiful and joyous one, as well as into the new year. They're great tips for every day of the year. And I appreciate you sharing. So I will see you out there in the Powerhouse Mavericks world. And if you need anything, like right now, I am setting up to where I haven't just a few actually left, but I have a number of you wanting to really sit down and lay out your 2022 cash generating plans, as I call them. And so all you need to do is DM me for more information in regards to that. I could actually put, here's the link to go and do that. But say you just want to talk about what we talked about today and you just want some tips and advice, then certainly DM me and just ask for some complimentary time, on a call that we can discuss, and I can share some tips and strategies for you. All right. But if you do want to work on your 2022 plans and get through any adversity you might be struggling with, but at the same time, really honoring your riches, then be sure to schedule a 6-month planning session and you'll be all set to go. All right. But thank you very much. And I will see you out there. Take care, everybody. Bye.